Thank you for your patience and your time. This is new for me, so please bear with me. My name is Sierra Shattuck. I'm from Groton, Connecticut. I'm a registered voter in the state of Florida. However, by the end of next week, I will be a registered voter here. I'm a victim of violence and a mother of two beautiful sons, Michael, who's 4, and Riley, who's 1. I suffer from PTSD, and my family and I have been victimized by our family court system. My case is approximately 3 years old. It began when my eldest son was 21 months old. It is currently pending in the Supreme Court. The system in place for GALs is not healthy for our families. They are not qualified in the respects of psychology to make a decision in regards to the well-being of a child, especially with their emotional and psychological well-being at risk. Ours specifically spoke to me once, other than about payment, and which was 70-30 split, and disregarded witness statements submitted. They're just another catalyst to a seemingly endless cash business our courts have become. Now, I acknowledge that some JALs aren't like this, and I'm sorry, I haven't met one, not one, that has looked into the best interest of my child. My case involves a court awarding custody to a man that is not only is not my child's father or a parent in any sense of the definition, proven by documentation and his personal testimony. He has an extensive history of domestic violence, including causing harm to my son, giving him a skull fracture, and a temporal bleed at the age of 5 weeks old. I left at the peak of the abuse and went home to Florida. Ten days later, upon ex parte order, they retrieved my child. I've never previously been separated from my child. And for 2 years from that point, the court prevented any extensive relationship between my son and I. I have not been found to be abusive or neglectful to either of my children. I have a stable home. I'm happily married to an active duty submariner. In fact, he's outside waiting for me with my youngest son.
The little beer cat on?
Yes. My constitutional rights are being violated, my son's rights violated, and our family is being ripped apart. Not even 2 months ago, on November 29th, I retrieved my child for visitation, which at the time I had every other weekend. He had several bruises on his neck and shoulder area. His legs, between his legs, on his thighs, and his ankle. I called the police, DCF. I had him seen by a physician and had him seen by a forensic specialist after the request of the police, where my child described the extent of the abuse. And because he's 4 and his vocabulary isn't developed enough, it was insufficient for any legal entity to do anything. And I don't understand it. The court, upon filing my ex parte, denied it regardless of the evidence, and in alternative granted the other party's ex parte with blatant lies stating I was in Florida, though they had proof of otherwise. I was required to return my child, though they had to his abuser. The court stripped me of my rights because I violated the court order to protect my child. The court-imposed child abuse needs to stop. It just needs to. Now my child is being subjected to further alienation and brainwashing. It's a continuous problem. And it gets worse. You must wonder why this is as it is, as I do. And I had no idea until I looked into speaking out. And this is what I found. The other party's attorney is daughter to the United States Senator Jeanne Shaheen, who was once governor that appointed the judge in the lower court. The attorney was also law clerk to a Supreme Court justice that is assigned to our case. It's all covered up. And I had no idea. This isn't legal. It makes me wonder what else is going on. I'm not alone. I have personally met, I've heard stories of, and am standing for the others in similar situations that cannot be here right now. And even those that were here today, I commend them. I'm shaking in my boots right now. And not to mention the hearings that I attended. He had his family fill half the courtroom. I have my husband and my 2 children. The rest of my family, they're out of state.
Ma'am, is your case a Connecticut case?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
But this is everywhere.
What state is your case in?
New Hampshire.
Okay, thank you.
I demand reform. My son is in danger. Our children and our rights to them are in danger. Not reform in just the GALs, but with the whole system. And laws enforced or enacted as the elements, such as the elements in the Parental Rights Amendment to protect our families from invasion. As parents, we have the right to decide what's best for our children, to protect our children. Shouldn't we be able to do this without the invasion of the government? Or any system for that matter, as long as we don't abuse or neglect our children. I have done nothing wrong, yet I'm victim to this. My son is victim to this. My other child. This kills me every time my other son leaves.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us, and thank you for staying all day. I mean, you know, your case isn't here, so really there isn't even if we have miraculous results, I'm afraid that we won't be able to assist you, but I do really appreciate you opening up and waiting all this time to do it, because you're right, your situation is not unique to your state. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Questions, anything?
No. Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, I know this is hard. What brought you here to this public hearing? Do you live in Connecticut now? And your ex-husband is in New Hampshire?
Even married.
Oh, okay, he's in New Hampshire. Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
And this is nationwide. It's not just here.
No.
And I just want to stand for all those parents. I'm not afraid anymore.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ms. Martone, you're up.